to one of our new videos. Today we're talking about pricing, and we have a special guest for you. So it's a little bit of a different format this time because I wanted to interview the amazing Sima Vaziry, who is a fantastic jeweller. Now she has a lot of experience in pricing, so I just wanted to get her take on things and ask a few questions. She's really knowledgeable, and also tell us a bit about yourself, just so you can learn a little bit about pricing from another point of view. Because Sima actually works with the British Museum. She used to be a web designer, so she's been in business for over 20 years and also had a very successful jewellery business for the last 7 years. So Sima, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this for us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Please tell us.
Having me here.
You're welcome, thank you. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Sure, and hi to everybody. My name is Sima Vaziry. I've been doing jewellery for 8 years. My major client is British Museum, and I've been working with them for 8 years, and I have a permanent collection in the British Museum and been commissioned about 6 times for major exhibitions. And apart from that, I do sell in Oxford Tower and to public and online. And also I've been 25 years graphic designer, running my own business. But because of medical reasons, my hobby turned into business overnight, being in the right place on the right time.
Yes, it went very well, didn't it? Straight away. I think you got
away
into the British Museum within a few months.
Yes, it was. I had a charity show, you know, but it's important to always be seen in the right places. So I had my jewelry exhibited, and the British Museum head buyer was there, and she bought my entire collection. And after that it sold well, so they keep putting it order, and this is like 8 years ago, and since then I've been there, and I think it's a lot to do with apart from that, you know, people like the jewelry, but it was a lot to do with the right pricing. Yes.
That's good. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But also it's really good that you've stayed there for 8 years. So you've actually kept a good relationship with them.
Very good, yes.
And kept it going, because they could have, sometimes they might buy 1 year and then not again. So you've actually built this up.
I mean, basically what I had to do, and I advise people to do, is keep the standard, you know, just make sure you don't drop your standards, you know, like, you know, it finishes, everything is exactly like the day one, even better, you know. So basically, you know, they don't get one exhibition a bad jewelry and then another one a good jewelry. So
so you kept the standards
that's right,
up.
That's very
you kept
important.
talking to them, kept
good relationship, making sure that don't cause any problems for them. Having a major head buyer of the British Museum, you need to treat them with respect and make sure that nothing is a problem, and always inform them if there is something changing, and also make sure you keep up to date. You know, when there is a deadline for orders to go in, make sure you do it, you know, don't delay it for any reason. You have to be quite serious. I mean, I remember within 8 years only once I delayed.
Wow.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you give, saying earlier, if you give them excuses, or I can't do it, it will be a week late, then they might start.
Yes, it's important
that they can't work.
Because I mean, everybody has got a limited space, so therefore, you know, they cannot, you know, waste that space with other, you know, with other jewelers, or they have empty space because they told other jewelers to go in order to put your jewelry there. And if you don't delay it on time, they're going to have an empty shelf. So, you know, you have to see it from their point of view, you know, how important that can be.
And you showed them all your designs, so then you've had some pieces which were maybe more commercial, and you've had some pieces which are more higher, and then they've picked which ones they think was going to work. And because they know what they're doing, don't they? They know what's selling.
They know, yes. The buyers, they're not
sell.
buyers, they know exactly what sells, what doesn't sell, and so they know what, you know, what price that sells as well. So they, you know, you have to work with them, make it work. You know, don't stop anything. Don't say, oh, I cannot do it, because that's, for them, is nothing. It's at the end, you know. But always be prepared to come up with ideas that it can work between you two.
Okay, fabulous, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we're talking about pricing, and we just want to ask Sima some questions about this. I know Sima isn't a milliner, but the fact is she's still got these precious items, and the pricing structure is still the same. So we just want to ask a few questions to you, if that's okay.
Sure.
So how do you work out your pricing to do with your jewellery? Sort of how do you come up with the end result?
Yes, I mean, how I come up with the prices, it's a mixture of lots of different things. It's my time, it's expenses, it's market, what the value of the market for kind of things I design. So the mixture of all that, but basically you can actually cut it down to all the costs. When I say all the costs, you're talking about the electricity bill, the rent you pay, material you buy, anything to do with your business, marketing, leaflets, brochures, and business cards. All those adds up, and then your rate plus your rate. Your rate is up to you. If you're a beginner, so I don't go too down on your price, but I would say something like anything between sort of £15 to £25 an hour you should be charging. And also that is, you expect, if you worked in some place, you're a designer, so this is a minimum that you should be charging. So that's how much does it take to make one hat. But then in reality you don't make one hat only, you're actually making like 10 hats. So then you divide it into hours you spend making 10 hats in one go, then into the 10, and then you find out your hour, you times it to the number that you work, then you know how many hours. So for example, if my costs comes for making one hat or one piece of jewelry, it comes to something like £30, and then my rate is, we say, £20. So you plus 30 and 20.
So you mean your costs and everything are sort of 30?
Yes.
And then your hourly rate's 20?
That's right. Well, and then
You
30, you add them together. So we are talking about the cost price at that stage is £50 for a hat. But then there are things can go wrong. I usually add 20% on top. But some people, they add, if you were dealing with wholesaler, you need to actually think about times that into 3, because in general places that they take your hats or your designs, they add another 3 times more. So they buy it from you 3 times less. So you have to make your money at least, and on top profit. But if you're selling it to the small boutique, then you do times 2. But times 3 is a normal.
More like Harrods
That's
and the
right,
big department stores.
But that is not the only thing, because then it might come to low price. Maybe your hat, you work all that out, and then your hat, for example, works at something like £90. But that kind of a hat in a market, you have to see handmade how much it goes for, because you don't want to underprice yourself in the market. You have to be very savvy with how much things are in a market. So you basically, if you think everything came to too low, then you bring it up a little bit, so you catch up with what is happening in the market. Otherwise, people think if you don't sit nicely on the shelf with other people with the price, maybe there is something wrong with the hats you make.
Yeah. So you might see somebody that's charging thousands of pounds when you're looking at the market, and then you might see some people that charge just £50, and then you've worked out your price, and you can sort of maybe put that somewhere in the middle if you're a beginner, because you can't charge as much as the highest person, but also you don't want to be too low either.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like imagine if I have a diamond necklace, and with diamond necklace I can easily sell it much more, have a much more profit. But if I sell it the way I charge for silver, then people might think that may not be diamonds. So you have to be careful not to be too low or too high.
And who are you going for as well? Because if your target market's people who expect to spend £800 or £1,000 on a hat, then they're going to look at yours if it's sort of 400 and wonder why, aren't they? So it depends who you're going for. You're going for the middle of the road person who thinks 400 is a good price, then that's so you can work that out beforehand. Obviously we all want to sell our hats for loads of money, and if we want to do that, then we have to get the marketing right, and you have to get to the right people, and you have to spend more money on marketing, but at the end of the day you get a higher price for your hat. But if you're out in the village and you're sort of, people might be affluent but not that affluent, then you can market yourself to those people and that sort of price. But you still have to work out that you're earning enough money for yourself, don't you?
It's very
and you
important,
always say that never go further down than that 20% contingency.
Basically, yes, you never try. I mean, there's always, you have to leave a room for negotiation, for bartering, because that happens. Always bartering happens. So basically what you do, you give a price, but make sure that you can go a little bit lower as at that price you have given to your wholesaler, and but you do not cut on your cost price. Cost price is your rate. Maybe you can cut that down a little bit, but what you don't cut down on the prices that you already spent, like, you know, materials, electricity, rent. Yeah. So basically you do not go lower than that. So you should know your bottom line and the top one. So in that case, that way you can barter. Don't give your bottom line price to your wholesaler, because then you don't have no room for bartering.
Yeah, so you give them a 20% higher, and then you can always...
That's right.
Okay. And that leads us on to the next question. But if you've got, a lot of people struggle and they have friends asking for hats,
yes.
and you're sort of practicing at the beginning and you're giving it to friends and family, and then you think, no, I need this as a business, and you need to start charging, and then you think, how can I get over this? What can I charge them? And some people give 50% off, which is wrong, isn't it? You should always make sure you're earning enough money from it.
Well, the thing is,
as well as giving them.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Everybody has experienced that. As soon as you do something creative, people want to buy, but obviously they don't want to pay the full amount because they're your friend. That I understand totally. Then you treat them like how, when you see your wholesaler, you do give them a discount. If you sold your hat in the shop, your own shop, obviously you pay the full, you ask for a full price. But when the wholesaler, you go a little bit lower, So you do that with a percentage, so you don't lose out. Don't try to make that a habit, because then the habit becomes duty eventually. So everybody will expect that you give that discount, but give enough that you actually still made money, So I would say about 20% or 30, up to 30% maximum. It's good enough, Or if you want to give it for free or something like that, make sure that you actually count that price into your marketing. Maybe that person is quite famous and she goes to right places and promoting you, so then that price, put it as an expenditure for marketing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, and PR and things
exactly.
Like that, a celebrity, or they might get you more sales by wearing that piece.
That's right.
And they're in the right sort of.
So it's because there is nothing free. It's not a charity. So
always think about yourself, isn't it? And always think about what you're getting back from that.
But basically you're making money. You have to make money, and this is your business. So therefore you have to make sure that you don't lose the end of the day. That's all. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Can you give any advice on sort of if you're new at a technique? Because some people, they might be learning millinery, but they're like learning a parasitical straw, and they might take longer at that than something else. And then they wonder about what sort of price they should charge for this piece.
Yes, I mean, it depends. I mean, somebody who's got like 25 years of experience, they do things much quicker and faster, and they found an easy way of getting things around. That person shouldn't be thinking, okay, I spent 1 hour, therefore it's £25. Your rate will go up because of experience. So because you've been in the market for a long time, So basically, they're not paying for that 1 hour; they're paying for all those years of experience.
Yeah, that's why you charge 25.
That's right.
Because they're paying for the years of experience.
Yes. So when I say you are a designer at this stage, therefore that money is for these years of learning how to do millinery, and then eventually, your prices go higher for hour, but then you do things much quicker. So that is how you should be doing.
Yeah. So when you're new at something,
Yeah.
then you're going to take longer, but you
That's
can't always
right.
charge that per hour.
That's right.
You've got to take into account that when you're going to be faster later on
Exactly.
at it,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
sort of cut some of the hours
That's
off.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So when you're new and you're a beginner, you can't always charge what you would like to get. You've still
That's
got a lot of
right, yeah.
practicing to do. One of the ladies was going to a shop, so it was a boutique, and she's just wondering about a consignment contract. So what's a fair and reasonable pricing strategy? What should she make sure she's including? So when she's going there,
Yes.
what should she take with her,
Okay.
and what sort of pricing should she have? I mean, I can put this out into a document as well for you, but just to
Yes.
get your thoughts.
Yes,
If
sure. When you're actually going to see a buyer, you have to make sure that you go as a businesswoman. You're not a creative person.
Mm.
So basically, you have to have everything correctly there. You need to have your samples in a perfect form, and you need to have a price list. You need to have two price lists: one for yourself, one for the your client. The reason is that because of bartering that happens, you need to know your bottom line, which that means you're not going to lose any costs and out of your pocket, and also know how far you can actually barter with them, because they are going to be bartering with you. They're going to push the price down. You need to come across that you are actually working with them, and not just saying, no, this is the price and that's it. You need to be flexible, but you have to make sure that the price doesn't go lower than your cost price. And also make sure that you look professional when you go and see them. At the end of the day, you are doing business with these people. So be like a businesswoman, and be respectful. Make sure that your presentation doesn't take time. Quickly they can all come out. Have the box very nicely packed. Your hat in the box, and everything basically in perfection. If your box is dirty, make sure you change it, because that is the results that what they think they will get from you. And also make sure that you got, usually big places they send a contract to you, but it would be nice if it's a small place you have the contract, so within the contract you can have all these details and what they want and what costs and when they want it. Deadline is very important. Usually 2 weeks it should be okay. Big places they want it 2 weeks full stop, and they want to know how quickly you can remake them as well. That is very important. And so have those, and also make sure that they buy them, because lots of places they take the items as a sell or return. Means they keep it for you, the item is yours, but until they sell it, you don't get your money. And also you have to have a timetable. I mean, they cannot keep it for years and years and years, so you just have to make sure that you put down is within 6 months or something like that.
You get it back.
Exactly.
If they
And that
sell
item is yours. It's basically you are in charge of that item. Sometimes I actually go there and make sure that my item is nicely displayed and is not sitting in the sun too long, so all the colors are fading. So you can actually have all the rights to say something about it, but the ones that they buy, it's all theirs. It's not yours anymore. So you cannot really go and complain about it or anything. So, but it's good, because when you sell it, that's it. It's finished. Money's in your pocket.
Yeah. And some shops will pay you after a few weeks, but some will pay you after a few months, wouldn't they? The big department stores.
Yeah.
You've got to just
1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month is normal. And
But I've heard that some are saying
3 months,
3
up
months.
to 3 months. Yeah. But make sure that when you write an invoice, you write to the right person, because the person who big department stores, the person who deals with you, the buyer, is not the person who deals with the account. So you get all the information correctly, and make sure that it is on your invoice, invoice number, the order, because they give you order number. So make sure your order number is on the invoice, and also your details, because they want to pay you, they want to know how to pay you. So have your bank details there, so they can actually straight away pay.
But this will come later, and the invoice will come after
Yes.
you've worked out that exact price.
That's right.
You'll send that
Yes.
after, so you
That's
don't bring that at the beginning. You'll bring maybe your lookbook, you'll bring your price
That's right.
list.
All your literature. Yeah.
And your hat boxes, so it's
That's
good if you can get branded hat boxes. Maybe you wouldn't at the beginning, but
Yes.
later on with your logo on, so that always looks professional. And you can get ribbon, and you can have tissue paper even if you go that far with your logo on it. That all just makes it seem more
Yes.
professional.
That's
doesn't it?
right. Yes.
So your lookbook, your price list, one for them, one for you.
Yes.
So then you can.
That's
But
right.
with yours, you have the bottom line that you wouldn't go any
Yes.
further down.
Yeah, and
from.
that price list is, I see it, they don't see it.
Yeah, so they have theirs and you have yours.
Yes.
So you know if you can bring the price
That's
down
right.
a bit. And theirs has got the 20% added onto it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? So lookbook that and all the examples that obviously you're bringing your collection to show them.
And also be flexible, because sometimes they might say, this hat is too expensive for us or too cheap or whatever. Be flexible. Say, okay, maybe they want it for a certain price to sell, because they know their customers very well. So therefore, they know that, they can sell this hat for what price. If you can be flexible and deduct or do less work for the price they want, and it still looks good, do it, yeah? Because that pleases clients, so you want to have a good relationship with them.
So somebody maybe makes their own flowers.
Yes.
Could say, well, okay, if you can't afford that price, I can take one flower off you.
Yeah, you can say,
or change them.
Or I can, source some from some other places, So be, accommodating, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good. We've got what should you bring to the meeting, but we've sort of covered that. So if you're going there, then you want to bring one of those things and bring your items and make sure they're really nicely displayed. And you give them a line sheet, and some people call it a line sheet, some people call it a price list.
Yeah.
And I'll put it into the workbook, the actual what a line sheet of prices looks like. You'll have your images, and then underneath you'll have your retail price and your wholesale price, your recommended retail price.
That's very important, because you don't want to be selling more expensive or cheaper than what they're selling.
Yeah, so once you've worked out all of the pricing from before, you've looked at your competitors, everything, then you can put that on your price list. And also a code as well. Do you have codes?
Definitely.
So they can then
Usually
say,
they create, if it's a big department store, they create codes. But if they're not, then you have to create, because sometimes it's confusing when you talk about a hat. So make sure that each hat has got a code or reference number, we call it.
Okay, thank you. So yes, I think that's great. Do you have anything else that you could, any other tips on pricing, sort of working it out, or
basically, I do. I mean, it's very important. You just started. I highly recommend, don't undersell yourself, because underselling, at the end of the day, it just goes down, and in one point that you can't do that anymore. You designing some things by hand is not being imported from Far East or other countries. So it's basically British made, and it's handmade. It's a craft. So make sure that you actually sell it for the good price, and that's that way people will come back. Price is very important. If you don't get your price right, you can lose the job with one selling to big department stores or even small boutiques. So pricing, it is important. And also do go around the shops, find out what sells, the shops that actually make everything with the machine, how much they sell that, and the ones which is by hand, and who are your competitors. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
Because the competitors, they actually studied them very well, through Instagram, through pricing, through department stores, because these are the people, they know what they're doing. So you want to actually stand in the same level with them.
Yeah, it's good to look sort of on the Harrods website, the Fenix website, and see
yeah.
what they're charging things for and who they are, and then watch those people. You even go on Facebook and you can watch what your competitors are doing.
That's right, always. I mean, the first thing when I was doing graphics, even the jewelry, first I see who's doing that everywhere, who's like me, and what they charge, so you want to know that before I make anything.
And just quickly as well, just when they're working out the pricing, you talked about you've got to put in your rates and your rent and your so all those costs, electricity and everything like that. And do you think that you should work that out by month and then add it up to the whole year so you get the full amount, and then divide it again by hours so you can sort of get an amount? Because how would you?
That's right. It depends.
Come up with that sort of amount.
Because sometimes some people work from home. So when you work from home, so you have to see 60% of the time do you work from home, so or 50% or 40%. So those percentage applies to 1 monthly invoice you get from the electricity, rent. So basically you just take from your share of business is like 40% or 30% of the full amount, yeah?
Yeah, because then maybe you're spending 30% of your time on the house.
And also you divide it to the hours that you work in a month. So you basically, you say I work like 50 hours a month, so the 60% of the bill is mine. So you divide that into these 50 hours, and then it gives you, hourly rate from that.
Of the
from the electricity, for example.
Okay.
So you do the same thing,
And you've got a sheet here as well that you were saying just for forecasting. Maybe this is a good idea to do this, and I'll put this in the notes as well.
That's
just
right.
an example of forecasting, so you can actually work out whether you're making a profit or not.
They call it cash flow. I mean, the cash flow, it's like a breathing. You can't live without a cash flow. If your company doesn't have cash flow, or it goes down every month, that means you're going to go, it's busted by some point. So it's very important. And also, if it is going up some months, that means you can actually invest into business because you think this month I've made it. How it works, basically, you start from the months. You have to choose a month that you start with. For example, here I have, written opening. Obviously, you have to have some cash in. It's not just the cash, it's the amount of money you invest, like out of your pocket or somewhere else, you bring in. I put down £2,000 you start with.
Maybe a bank loan.
Could be a bank loan,
credit
yes.
card,
But then,
if
if it's a bank loan, then under here, which it says the cost and expenses, the bank loan should be there because that will go out. And then you will have your costs prices, for example, I've written here, equipment, material, advertising, office rent, telephone, utilities, website, insurance, very important. And then you put down your total cost of that expenses. And then summary. On summary, you have opening balance, that means on first month how much you had, and then total income, then total outgoings, and then net cash flow. So that you end up, obviously that month you haven't sold because you just started, so it becomes 2,000. But the next month this 2,000 will go up here because that is the opening balance. And then you will have all your expenses. Obviously you don't sell on the first month, so you don't put anything here. And then what you do, the difference between the income and outgoings is your cash flow. So you do it here, and then you could keep going to the next, but maybe the third month you sold £200, so it keeps adding up. So Catherine, I think this is going to have that.
So we'll put this into the workbook for you so you can see.
Yes.
And your profit should be going up.
Yeah, basically you have to, the money should be going up rather than down, but obviously at the first year or two, it might be a little bit 1 month here, 1 month there, but in general, you should be, the curve of, should be going up on the chart.
But also it can take about 3 years before you can make a sort of a big profit, can't it? You can just trickle along when you're still building up, you're bringing in customers, you're marketing, so don't be afraid of not earning that much.
But it depends how big you want to do the business. If you're going to survive on that, usually you have to have enough money to get you up to 3 years. That is a normal turnaround.
Yeah.
But if it's a small business, like you've got other jobs but you're doing this on the side, then I would say, you should be making money within a year or two. Yeah.
Depends how much you want to invest,
Exactly,
doesn't it? as well?
exactly.
You might want to suddenly
Time and money.
yeah, because if you can suddenly inject 30,000 or something, then you've got
No.
PR and you've got everything straight away. But
Yeah.
people don't have that sort of
No,
money to
no.
spend. So
Exactly.
bit by bit, build it up. That's what I did. I mean, I started years ago, and I worked part time, and I did this, and then I just built it up until I could then do it full time.
That's
so
right, yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I wasn't sure that I was going to be jeweler full time, so I did it as a hobby, and then it turned into business, and it became every day, and then sometimes overtime, and getting people in. So it's you just have to go with the flow, but make sure that where you are in a market, where you know how you're doing. Always be having hands on. Don't carry on spending money without looking back to see what your business is doing.
Yeah, and what you're spending it on and
That's
what you're
right,
getting
yeah.
back from it.
Yeah.
So be really careful about if you're spending money on PR or something, you've got to, or Facebook ads or anything,
You
watch
have to
that.
pay back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somehow
what's
you
that
have to
word?
make the money.
yeah. So you're sort of
Yeah.
like a mathematician.
Yeah, basically,
working
there are
out
months
the
that you don't
statistics
sell.
of what's
Yeah,
worked
that's
and
true.
what's not.
I mean, there are months you sell, there are months you don't sell, but that's normal. That's very normal. But in 1 year, how is it gone? Is it gone up or down? So then you have to see why. It's very important. At the end of the day, you have to make money. Otherwise, this can go down, and then you don't have any more money to do this work. Yeah.
But also enjoy yourself.
Definitely. I mean, that's the most important thing.
The thing is, we love what we're doing, don't we?
Exactly.
We just have fun every day because we're making things, and we're lucky to be here now because we worked at it.
That's
and,
right. Yeah.
And watched what we were doing and
Yeah.
kept going. So people that keep going are the ones that get there.
Yes.
And obviously they're the
Don't
ones that
give up. Never give up.
never
Yeah.
give up. Yeah.
Because that is the thing. If you like something, don't give up.
Yeah.
It will pay.
Yeah. Enjoy it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
for that.
and thank you for listening.
I hope that was helpful, and now you can watch the next video, and also all of the bits and pieces we talked about will be in the worksheets. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Bye.